So, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I still wonder why I even make the intro. And I just see that I will have to really close my closet. And as you can see, there is no fucking window. Yeah, totally. Because I've again been like, yeah, you know what? I do want to have a bigger number. And I do want to have a longer episode, and therefore I'm just going to see what I'm going to pretty much, read or talk about today with you, so that maybe you can see, okay, there are certain books that would be interesting for me. So therefore I'm just going through the whole book summary site, and I do hope that I'm actually able to go on this site, because I'm still on the powermoves.com website, where you know that sometimes you get restricted from actually pretty much, looking or just, consuming their content, which is definitely something that's not too good because, then you just have to go to another site. There are a few sites, definitely, which are also good, like Samuel Thomas Davis or Paul Miners, or there are a few others, but I think the powermoves.com, Samuel Thomas Davis, and Paul Miners are the three best ones at my point of view, at least. I was wondering if I should talk about something about health and nutrition, and the funny thing is, then I've just seen books like, or was it? I think it was in the wealth and personal finance section. The first book is published by Chandler Bolt. Definitely a good book. There are always just books like I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Definitely books you shouldn't look for, because most of the time there is just only bullshit in them, and these are all only authors who actually make money by telling you how to make money, and therefore do not have actually any fucking advice that could give you any value. And besides that, they do not have any experience, and therefore relying on their advice wouldn't be the best thing you could do. I still wonder if I should actually be talking about, and I just see that you can't see anything, but now you can see something. I'm pretty fucking grateful for me just seeing this now, because I could have made one entire episode just showing you something you can't actually see. You Are the Placebo is actually something I do believe in, is quite interesting, because the placebo effect is definitely really, really interesting, and also pretty usable to just use. And Young and Next Year, Born to Run, Brainmaker. Or should I actually be talking about something like Selfhelp, which is also always a good thing? Because I pretty much rely Gorilla Mindset, Deep Work, The Book of Joy, What I Know for Sure, Originals, Ego. I go for Self-Help, I guess, because Self-Help is always some kind of good, and there's always some kind of, thing to learn, and some kind of thing to really discuss about at all, or just, especially discussing some things. The problem is I've been going through a lot of them. Essentialism is none of them. I think I will go with Essentialism, because this is actually a book and I can actually view it. No, I can't actually view it, but therefore we actually go to the paulminers.com website, because they have even suggested me, after I think the one thing, to go through, what was it called? I forgot it. I'm such a fucker. Incredible. Essentialism by Greg McKeown. I don't know. But I think it is actually a good book. I don't know Greg McKeown, but it is a book about productivity, as well as The One Thing, a book that I've been discussing as well. And I do just see that this is nothing I want to have. Let's make it like this, because then it's in the corner. The funny thing is, if I do click on the actual browser I'm using Opera for doing this. So this is the window on the left side. You can see this is actually Opera, And when I do actually just go into this one, so into the window, it actually, as you can see, I'm now in the window, it bounces a little bit off from the center, not from the center, but from the corner and or edge, which is definitely not good. And therefore, when you click just on another window, everything is fine again and everything works again. But you do see that there are some glitches. I hope this is nothing that disturbs you, because I don't know why. It is since I've been, updating my MacBook. There are some, glitches and failures or whatever, but without not wasting your time anymore, maybe let's see. When I'm in this, actually, I could do it like this, and then I just stay in this window and just look a little bit around and see if everything is working quite fine. Yeah, this should be working. I think it's, if I click into the window, there are no glitches. I hope I do. Essentialism by by Greg McKeown is a must-read for people interested in productivity and getting more done. Which is definitely something, by the way, that pisses me off all the time, because just now I came home, I've been eating some shit, and it took me so long, I think actually 45 minutes, which is incredible long for me. I know people who are eating for an hour straight, which is definitely something I do not do, because I quite feel like I do like to eat. So it's not like I just, don't want to eat and whatever, I think it's a waste of time. No. But I still think like, if you eat faster, you just have more time for things that actually, I don't know, are more essential for my life or for my work that I'm doing, such as, making this episode right now, which is, important to me. So Essentialism by Greg McKeown is a must-read for people interested in productivity and getting more done. It is a real eye-opener which challenges you to think about what's important and how you're spending your time. The book guides you through the process of saying no to the trivial many so you can focus more on the essential few. And this is definitely a good advice. So who is this book for? Essentialism by Greg McKeown is a must-read for people interested, and I have read that one. About the author, English-born Greg McKeown is an author, teacher, consultant, and speaker. He studied at Stanford University and holds an MBA. His passion is living as an essentialist and leading others to the same. McKeown is hugely influential and has spoken in front of companies such as Apple, Google, Facebook, and Twitter. The Harvard Business Review considers McKeown one of the most popular bloggers, which is definitely something to be proud of. But I do just remember that there was another person that has had done quite the same things. Maybe it was even the same author. Could this be the thing? Who was also speaking before Apple and Google and Facebook and all these great things and all these great companies. And I hope that this won't be a book that I have been going through already. No, I think I haven't, because I haven't seen the book cover itself, which I was able to see just on the powermoves.com website for just a really short period of time, just a second, and then I knew, okay, I can go through it. But yeah, so in the summary, we will begin the summary with a brief outline of McKeown means when he describes living life as an essentialist. And then we will move on to discuss his 4-part process of becoming an essentialist. And part 1 then would be essence is all about mindset. Part 2 would then be explore is about learning and discovery. And the third one is eliminate is about getting rid of the non-essential. And finally, part 4, executor, is all about how to use the newly discovered time you now have. Which is definitely a thing you have to just look at. You can just, create yourself more time, but if you just use the time you've created for yourself for dumb shit like, I don't know, and just remember to plug in everything and turn on my, I don't actually know what it is called. This is some kind of bar where there are a lot of plug-in things for your electrical devices are. I don't know what this is called. Actually, I don't know. But yeah. And I hope it doesn't bother you that there are glitches sometimes, which is a little bit, and I've seen that in the recording itself they are actually seen, but because I just talk about it and I do just remember that I should actually zoom in a little bit. so that you can actually read it a little bit better and a little bit more easily. But yeah, the book's summary. What is an essentialist? McEwen describes the essentialist lifestyle as living not by default but by design. This means that rather than simply reacting to events and making choices by default, an essentialist will be disciplined and systematic in creating a lifestyle and make the decisions based on this. Definitely, and also something that I've always been saying, if you have certain goals and kind of values, yeah, definitely values and goals, you should always make your decisions based on these values and or these goals. And this is something that I've been discovering, if you wanna, say it like this, quite discovering a few weeks ago actually, really just, in the middle of making an episode, because I don't know when, maybe it was even after an episode, but I think it was actually during an episode that everything kind of made sense. And this is the great thing, 2 days ago I was discussing I'm okay and you're okay. No, actually it was yesterday, I think. Yesterday was the last part of I'm okay and I'm not okay and you are okay, which is a book about psychology and, self-analysis. And what was it called? It was not psychoanalysis because it is something different. Transactional analysis, I think, or transactional therapy or something. It's definitely something else than just the traditional way of curing somebody who is just mentally ill. And it is a great book. So if you're interested in it, either read a summary or because I didn't get anything what was in the actual summary itself. So therefore, I would just suggest you to go through the summary yourself on the powermoves.com website, and if you can view it, but you definitely can view it, I think, because you're not that often on this fucking summary website than I am, so that you not get restricted from watching it. But yeah, what I want to say, that actually making your decisions based on your values and your goals, but strictly do it. Not like, I will just do it because it's in my favor or whatever. Just, do it in terms of your fucking values and your fucking goals. And therefore you will always be just, it will always bring you further to your goals or towards your goals, which makes sense because if you just make decisions based on these things, it is just clear for me, at least, that you just get to this goal somewhen or someday later, or maybe not just in the next, maybe not faster, but definitely for sure. But essentialists are able to recognize that some things in life are more important than others, will remove all obstacles, and will have the ability to eliminate everything that is not essential. It's about making clear decisions and having a choice in what is important and what isn't important in your own life. And this is definitely something I kind of struggle with, especially in school, where I do just have a lot different things to learn. It just bothers me a little bit that these, the thing is, I should have stopped the recording just before, because is actually everything okay? Yeah, I hope that the audio is okay besides that. Because yesterday actually, I have been trying out if everything is working fine, because I've updated my laptop, as I said before, or my notebook actually, I think there's not such a way or such a thing as laptop in English. Sorry, it's a notebook or it's a MacBook or whatever you want to call it. And the actual thing is that if I stop the recording, the second recording I made, which was then the actual recording for the episode, everything went quite well and there were no glitches or some shit like that. But just, maybe you just look at it as an special effect or some shit like this. So I hope it doesn't bother you. But the next episode will be fine. I hope. I just look for it to just some kind of solve it. But I see and I recognize that my actual notebook or MacBook, whatever, just isn't as loud as it was before I have been updating it, which is definitely a good thing for me, because I hope that the audio therefore is a little bit better, especially when the microphone is straight in my fucking face. But which is important for me, as I said before, or what I initially wanted to say is that it is pretty hard for me to really decide whether I do want to learn something, because I'm a person who wants a lot of knowledge. I like to have knowledge, even though I'm not quite using it. I like to learn things, and therefore I quite just learn everything in school, because I'm maybe because I'm just interested in learning it, but not particular in the subject itself, which then just is a little bit hard for me, especially right now, to just create some time for me because, or maybe it's because I've always been good in school, or always had good marks or whatever, that I do not just wanna use more time for actually doing my stuff or my podcast and these things, than actually doing something for school. But it has been a little bit better for me to just decide, yeah, I want to do the podcast instead of just learning some dumb shit, or a little bit cutting back on it. So if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. The first one is essence. It's all about mindset. Too often we hear others or ourselves saying, "I have to," it's all important, or "I can do both." We are continuously encouraged to multitask and juggle as many things as possible. However, this is exactly the attitude that McEwen wants us to learn to reject. These aren't overwhelming truths. Not everything is important, and you don't have to do both. Definitely not. It's always in terms of what's in terms of your values and your goals, and what's not. Instead, McEwen suggests that we replace these notions with what he calls his three core truths. I choose to, only a few things really matter, and I can do anything but not everything. By changing our mindset and pursuing these three truths, we will be freed from the trivial, non-essential, and have the ability to pursue the truly important. Definitely, it makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So you have the ability to choose. McEwen explains that the key to becoming an essentialist is to acknowledge that you have a choice. It's completely individual and totally up to you. You have the power to make choices, and without that awareness, you cannot be an essentialist. When we forget our ability to choose, we learn to be helpless. In turn, we surrender our power to choose. And that is the path of non-essentialist. Not only do you need to acknowledge that by making choices, you have power, which is definitely true, but you just have the power of deciding what your life looks like. If you just decide to, this is a fucking example I always bring up, if you just decide to eat a burger today instead of, something healthy, vegetables, I don't know, then you just really determine your life, or just really move your life into an unhealthy kind of thing. Because, in the future you might get, a little bit sick because of it, or it will be a habit of just daily eating a burger or whatever, by just all the choices you can make, you definitely just determine what your life looks like, especially in the future, but also in the now. So, yeah. Where did I stop? You have power, but McEwen describes the essentialist as someone who celebrates their right to choose. An essentialist will never surrender the power of choice by allowing others to make choices for us. Always everything is unimportant. Almost everything is unimportant, as that's definitely true. There are only just, really certain things that are truly important to us, which I totally just, pretty much rely again on the value and goal thesis or theory or whatever you want to call it. It's definitely the truth, but if your goal is just having more money, just one of the best ways would then be just saving more money, or not just using more money for total shit like eating out, or buying new shoes even though you have 3 pairs, or buying some other things you do not actually need. And yeah, so actually you then can see there are just pretty much less choices, or that just really few choices you have to make, but these choices have to be some kind of good, or in terms of your values and goals. A key to becoming an essentialist, McEwen explains, is to sit back and spend time exploring your options. That's definitely important, because I kind of feel like often people just don't see a lot of options. There are so many options in life. If you, I don't know, you could choose between, I will learn this certain subject for school, or I will not. These are the few easy things, but you could actually be like, okay, I just, learn it in such a way that I even just, master the test, or I can just even just, graduate, or just master this class, because, without I would just, fail or whatever. Or you just, learn as much as you get satisfied to, or you, I don't know, there are so many fucking choices you could make, or so many options, I will, better say, to make, which is definitely true that he points out this. A key to becoming an essentialist, McKeown explains, is to sit back and spend time exploring your options. Don't assume that there is only ever one option. Definitely not. Investing a little bit of extra time is going to pay off, because McKeown points out that some things are significantly more important than others, and recognizing this is key, and that's totally right. An essentialist, in other words, discerns more so he can do less. Discerns, I think, is it called discerns? It's DISCERNS. More so he can do less. And this is definitely something that's placed into the hands of some kind of, another theory or some kind of funny, mind game I've been stumbling across, or I've been thinking about is, if you smoke less, you have the ability to smoke more, which means, in theory, it, would be a funny thing, because, but, basically or practically it isn't working, because, it doesn't matter, as scientists and studies show, that it doesn't matter that or if you just smoke 1 cigarette a day, or 3 or 4, you will just, have these bad issues, or these health problems anyways. It doesn't matter if, the amount of just, cigarettes you smoke on one day, but it's more about how many you just smoke over a longer period of time, as I remember correctly. But the thing, what I want to say is that actually my theory would be just, if you smoke less, you do have the time and you have the health to smoke more over your period of life. If you just smoke less today, you can just smoke more in the long term, which is just some kind of unnecessary to just, tell you right now, but maybe you just think it's funny as well. Maybe not. I think not, no. But yeah. Yeah. Make a choice. Which problem do you want? When making choices, especially the more difficult ones, it's easy to fall into the trap of assuming that you have to give up something. The negative perspective on this is that by doing less, you're not having as much of a reward. However, McKeown encourages essentialists to perceive these situations as positive choice. Rather than making a decision based on giving something up, an essentialist will make their decision based on what they want to really put all of the time and effort into, so go big on. Simply changing your thought process and approach to making choices will have a significant effect. This is really also in terms of perspective and pretty much focus. It's there always, or just again, that you just either focus on the negative things or just on the positive thing. You either focus on, what will I give up, what I couldn't do, or you just focus on the positive side or the good side, which then will be just, how do I create, or, through this, I could create so much more time for actually making something that I'm deeply passionate about, or what I deeply love. But yeah. Trade-offs are not something to be ignored or desired. They are something to be embraced and made deliberately, strategically, and thoughtful. The second one is explore, be constantly learning. This is something that a lot of people say, like, every millionaire is constantly learning, and so on and so on, which is something that is, I think, kind of true, but it's like, some shit that all the people praise and all the people just, talk about and whatever, and you have to do it and whatever, which is something I definitely quite hate, because it also leads to some sort of generalization where everything is like, it's the same shit, like, if you read 200 pages a day, you will be famous and or successful or rich or whatever in the next few weeks, months, years, or whatever. Yeah, I do. Besides the whole debate, I do think and I do really believe in learning a lot and, being a constant learner and just learning, every day and so on. But besides that, you really just have to execute on the things you learn, because as Tony Robbins even says, knowledge is only potential power. Potential power because, you could actually use it or you are not using it. It just depends on whom you are, or, what person you are. Who you are, actually, not whom, but learning a lot is something I will always do, I think, because it's something I deeply like, and it's always in terms of, what framework you put yourself in. If you are a business owner, you just have to learn more, over periods of time and whatever, because the economy changes, some marketing strategies and environments change, and just everything in the business world some kind of changes, and therefore you just have to adapt to it, and by adapting to it you just have to learn to make the best out of every situation, and therefore you just have to learn where you are, what you can do with it. The most easiest thing to explain it is with just social media. Some years ago everyone was making banner ads, and some really big posters on the streets and whatever, and this was working, yeah. But now everyone has to just some kind of focus more on social media and on the internet itself, which is just another environment. And yeah, you could definitely be like, you just either learn it yourself, or you kind of outsource it and just hire an agency or an agent who just makes it for you, or an employee or whatever. But I think especially in the business world, you do have to just learn more theoretically, I think, than if you're just a normal employee who is especially just some kind of things like I don't know, what's a good example. If just doing one simple task over and over a day, over and over, and this the whole day long and so on, you will definitely not learn a lot. And but I know where this leads, but I will just go on. Essentialists spend as much time as possible exploring, listening, debating, questioning, and thinking. But the exploration is not an end in itself. The purpose of the exploration is to discern the vital few from the trivial many. Okay, and give yourself permission to escape, which pretty much kind of leads me to The Dip, which was the book I've been discussing yesterday, which is totally a good read, and which is something, a pretty quick one. So yesterday's episode was actually only half an hour long. I think it was 35 minutes, and it was a good book about when you should know to quit, or when you should actually quit, and when it is good to just move on. And I pretty much would invite you to just check out the last episode. It's an incredible book, I think. It has a lot of value in it for the amount of it is a really short read, as I said. Therefore it has just a lot of value in it, which I was a little bit surprised by. There's actually pretty a lot of. I do remember now that I should actually turn off everything that I'm not getting called, or anything is happening, which is definitely something that has been happening to me before. But yeah, where did I stop, motherfucker? I do, by the way, just pretty much debate with myself on if I should actually make my episodes, and especially podcast episodes, explicit or clean. This is something that I haven't actually been knowing what it meant actually before. So before I just stumbled across it, and I actually knew what it meant, and I was like like, shit, man, what should I do? Should it be, or the thing is, I would just have to correct every single episode, which is totally a lot of work. I do not know if I should actually do it. So therefore, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it, maybe not. I will just see, I think. Give yourself permission to escape. In this day and age, everyone seems to be time poor and constantly juggling more than they can realistically handle. And this is one of the main obstacles preventing us from living life as an essentialist. McEwen explains that you need to allow yourself some time and space to really detect what in your life is essential and what is trivial and can be discarded. Allowing yourself this time and space is what McEwen is talking about when he says that essentialists live by design and not by default. The time and space is only available to you if you have designed your life to allow yourself this escape. There are 3 key things that McEwen suggests you use your space to do. Design, away from all the distractions, take the time to think and design your life. Definitely a good one. The second one is concentrate. As much as using your time to schedule and focus on planning the essentials, it's also important to take time out to do something or to do nothing but think from time to time. And the third thing is read. Remember to schedule time to sit down and read what McEwen describes as classical literature. Avoid blogs, modern books, and news during this sacred time. I would say not particular only read. Reading is something a lot of people just rely on, and a lot of people just say, yeah, everyone should do it and whatever. But at my point of view, yeah, audiobooks just do this as well. You just get knowledge through audiobooks as well, and therefore, if you aren't a person who is just liking to read, or who just pretty much dislikes to read so much that you can't do it, then I would definitely suggest you to go through an audiobook, or actually just watch YouTube videos. But I do quite understand what he wants to say, is that for me, it feels different to pretty much read a book, especially if it's some classical literature or actually some non-fiction, than just reading something that's like a blog post, or just watching a YouTube video and things like that. I do would say that you should definitely do something that's working for you. You should not do some things that people just suggest, and you think like, okay, because he is doing, I'm doing it as well. And there are certain things that are this way, like hard work and just living your passion and so on. These things just work for everyone, at my point of view, but not like something like this. So yeah, I think these three ones are actually quite good to. And especially, I think just taking some time in thinking and just taking a break is also pretty important. And this reminds me of something which is, I think, called the Pomodoro Principle. But I have been talking about it before, and I haven't known the name either. So I maybe look it up. I think I won't. But basically, it is 25 minutes of working followed by 5 minutes of break. Why you should do this? Because at my point of view, you just really create some kind of framework for yourself to not get overloaded with just work. And because I think, and this is definitely something that I've experienced myself, is that if you just work and work and work and work, then sometimes there is just, sorry, I've just had to hear, there is just some period of time where you just can't work anymore, and everything is not working that fine, or nothing is just working that fluently as you want it to be. And therefore just making certain breaks and really just knowing or just really quite designing your breaks. And this is just really funny that I talk about this in that book, which was actually something that I think I was discussing yesterday in the dip as well. So to really know when to make breaks, or to really just schedule the breaks, to really be like, okay, I will work for an hour and then I will make half an hour of break. It is a good idea because you then just not tend to, it is something, it's just my experience, and it's something I feel like, then you not get caught up in just, wasting a lot of time by mediocre hard work, by not actually hard working, but some kind of hard working. But at the end, you just waste a lot of time because you could have done more if you just had made one break, or had done one break in the middle of the hard work. So yeah, I hope you get what I mean. Focus on what matters. We have all felt lost and unmotivated at different points in our life, definitely. Often we are faced with too much information, or have too many choices, and you simply do not know what you need to focus on. Rather than making a choice and moving forward, we find ourselves stationary and stagnant, making no progress or anything at all. This is quite the situation I was just discussing, or just kind of describing before, when you just, do not properly work, but you just, look at it as work. So therefore just making a short break will just give you the power and energy and the, I think, focus as well to just move on with the hard work. And yeah, or even worse, moving backward. McEwen encourages us to stop hyper-focusing on minor details and start looking at the big picture. This is where we are going to make progress. Discerning, I do not actually know what discerning means. What is essentially to explore requires us to be disciplined in how we scan and filter all the competition. Yeah. I think I will stop the episode now. Yeah. I wish you a wonderful day.